let's be real, picking an AI model these days can feel overwhelming. It's like you're standing in front of a giant wall of TVs in an electronics store, and every single one is blasting different specs at you. It is super easy to just get stuck, not knowing where to even start. So, in this explainer, we're going to give you a clear, step-by-step way to navigate the Microsoft Foundry Catalog. We're going to cut through all that noise and help you find the perfect model for your project. All right, let's get into it.
And when I say a lot of options, I am not exaggerating. Just look at this number, over 1,900 models. Yeah, you heard that right. Now, on one hand, that's amazing, right? An incredible library of tools at your fingertips. But on the other hand, it's the classic paradox of choice. How in the world do you find the one right model without getting totally lost? Well, that is the exact problem we are going to solve today.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle that big picture view using something called trade-off charts. Then, we'll zoom in and learn how to decode the model card for any single model. After that, we'll break down the 4 key metrics you absolutely need to know. And we'll finish with what is, honestly, the most important part, making that final call using your own data.
Okay, so our first stop is all about getting that bird's eye view. Before you get bogged down in the nitty-gritty of any one model, you need a way to see the whole landscape. And to do that, we're going to use the trade-off charts.
So what exactly is a trade-off chart? Think of it as your map for the AI world. It's a visual tool that plots every model against different priorities that are always competing with each other. Because, let's face it, in any project, you can't have it all. You might need incredible quality, but you're on a tight budget. Or maybe you need it to be lightning fast, but it also has to be super safe. These charts, they make those tough choices crystal clear right from the start.
And this right here is the classic dilemma, isn't it? Quality versus cost. The best way to think about it is like shopping for a car. You've got the high-end sports car over here. It's got amazing performance, incredible quality, but it comes with a serious price tag. And then you've got the reliable family sedan. It gets the job done safely and efficiently for way less money. A trade-off chart basically puts all the cars on the lot in one view, so you can see right away if a cheaper model is good enough for your trip, or if you really need to spring for that premium performance.
But it's not just about the price tag. The charts let you pivot and look at other really critical trade-offs. You can switch to quality versus safety, which is a huge deal if your app just can't have any weird or unpredictable outputs. Then there's quality versus throughput, which is just a fancy word for speed. This one is absolutely non-negotiable for any kind of real-time app, where even a tiny bit of lag can ruin the whole experience. And the best part is, you can filter these charts and use the Model Selected dropdown to only show the ones you're seriously considering.
Okay, so these charts are fantastic for comparing everything at a high level. They're perfect for taking that overwhelming list of 1,900 and shrinking it down to maybe a handful of real contenders. But once you have that short list, how do you really dig in? How do you understand what's actually going on under the hood? You know, what's inside a single model?
Well, the answer to that question is the model card. If the trade-off chart is the map of the entire dealership, think of the model card as the detailed window sticker for one specific car. It's the central hub, the single source of truth for every single thing you need to know about a model.
Now, a model card has a ton of info, but we want to make a smart, data-driven choice, right? So we are going straight for the gold. We're heading to the Benchmarks tab. This is really the heart of the whole evaluation. It's where all the raw, objective performance data lives. And when you get inside that Benchmarks tab, you'll see that everything is organized around 4 fundamental metrics. These are the absolute building blocks for how every single model in the catalog is measured. Understanding these 4 is key.
All right, these are the 4 pillars. First, you have quality. That's pretty simple. How accurate is it? How correct are the answers it gives you? Second, safety. This is all about robustness. Is the model reliable? Is it predictable? Third, of course, is cost. How much is this going to set you back? And finally, throughput. This is all about speed and latency. How fast is it for your users? And here's a little secret. For most apps that people actually use, throughput is often more important than a tiny little bump in quality. A pretty good answer that comes back instantly is almost always better than a perfect answer that takes 5 seconds to show up.
Now, what's really important to understand is that all this data you're seeing in the Benchmarks tab, it comes from standardized public datasets. This is incredibly helpful because it gives you an objective, apples-to-apples comparison between any 2 models. It's a fantastic starting point for understanding how they stack up on common, well-known tasks.
But And this is a really big but. While those public benchmarks are a great guide, they are not your benchmarks. Your data is unique. Your use case has its own quirks. A model that's a genius at summarizing news articles might completely fall apart when you ask it to read your company's super technical engineering documents. The public data gets you most of the way there, but that last little bit, that's the part that really matters.
Which brings us to our final, and honestly, our most critical step, custom validation. This is where we go from theory to reality. It's time to see how the model performs, not on some generic test, but in your environment, with your data, solving your problems. This is where you make the final verdict.
And the best part is, this process is so much easier than you might think. Right there on the model card, you'll see a feature that says, try with your own data. You can literally start feeding it your own stuff. Customer emails, lines of code, medical reports, whatever your world looks like. You're now testing it on your actual scenarios. This isn't about some score on a public leaderboard anymore. This is about real-world results. And that is what lets you make a choice you can be truly confident in.
And that's the whole journey. We started with this kind of terrifying number, over 1,900 models. We used the trade-off charts to zoom out and find a few good candidates. We dove into the model card to really understand their strengths and weaknesses using those 4 key metrics. And then we brought it home by validating our top pick with our own data. It's a system that takes you from being overwhelmed by choice to being empowered to make a confident decision for your specific task.
So now you have the playbook. You have the tools to turn that massive wall of options into a single smart choice. The only question left is, for your next project, what's going to matter most to you? Are you going to prioritize speed over absolute accuracy? Or is cost the one thing you just can't budge on? The first step is always deciding which trade-off you're going to make first.